We are all absolutely loving Mario Kart World, and it would not be the same without its beautiful tracks. So in this video, I'm going to be ranking all 30 tracks in Mario Kart World. And without further ado, let's get started. Number 30 on the list is undoubtedly Desert Hills. This track is basically, how should I say, it's shaped like a pond, and there are a few turns, and then nothing really going on, and then the music is just pure boring, and this is only where it lives up to its name, hills. There is only 3 hills or 2 hills, I completely forgot, that you could trick off of, and it completely does not live up to its name. So, number 30, Desert Hills. Just get this thing off the list. Number 29 is Choco Mountain. So, this version of Choco Mountain has to be one of the most changed tracks in Mario Kart history. I mean, this cape section is completely different, so I know because they had to fit into the world aesthetic, but I just do not like this track. The mud just does not work well, and it's just slow, and the charging chucks are so annoying. The boulders are back, which is a great sight, but that does not help it grow up a few more placements, and this ending bar is just pure boring. 3 tricks, and then you'll end. If you get shocked after the 3rd item set, you are basically getting 24. No doubt about it. And that has to be one of the best shock spots out of any Mario Kart game. It's absolutely insane. But overall, this track is just a very mid track, to be honest. So yeah, that's Choco Mountain for you. I don't really like it. The 8 Deluxe version is way better, so let's move on. At number 28 is Mario Bros. Circuit. This track is the first track in the game, so I would not be surprised if it's very basic and I would rank it very lowly. But I think this track actually has some pretty interesting straps, like a bit of shortcuts, and I'm a big fan of the shortcut at the start where you charge jump, bounce onto the barriers, and then you get back onto the rails. You just clear that shortcut shroomless. I'm a big fan of that shortcut, but that is very difficult. But I do like the tech on this track, and it's not as bad as I thought it would be. So let's move on. At number 27 is Koopa Beach, Koopa Troopa Beach. Now this track is basically a remake of Koopa Beach 2 in the SNES, but I feel like they did not want to have numbers in the world. But this track, although it's just a donut or a circle, it's actually 5 laps, which makes it 100 times better. At least you don't need to finish a course in under a minute. That's just very, very bad. And overall, this is just a mid-course. I'm a big fan of the shortcut with the mushrooms that I just did over the ledge or the boxes, but that does not do much for me, and let's move on. At number 26 is Mario Circuit. Now, this track is actually very special. Number 1, the mini-map is shaped like a bunny, but the most important of all is that it's a combination of Mario Circuit 1, Mario Circuit 2, and Mario Circuit 3, all from Super Mario Kart, and then put into one Mario Circuit. And I would say the most fun part is Mario Circuit 2, because you can cut this corner really tight, which I just failed. And also, you could land on the blocks with the huge ramp on Mario Circuit 2. And entering Mario Circuit 3, holy cow, entering Mario Circuit 3 The track has been more narrow than 8 Deluxe, which is always a good thing because it allows more chaos to happen. But overall, this is just a flat road with a ramp and 20 turns. So yeah, overall this is a pretty mid track. Let's move on. At number 25, we got Cheap Falls. So we are starting to get to the tracks that are not too bad, but I don't really enjoy it that much, to like the mid tracks. And Cheap Falls is one of them. So Cheap Falls is not necessarily a bad track, but to be honest, the water physics here are very strange. Like, why is this hump not water, but instead you kind of drive into them? And I just do not like the water physics in this game. I feel like it's a little silly. So I just don't like the water tracks that much. And Cheap Falls, basically 65% of it is water. Like, you need to drive on water. So I don't really like it. But it's a mid track, so let's move on. At number 24 is Peach Beach. And I'm sorry, but this remake is not good. Like, you even lost the path that you usually could go there, and then it's like from the GameCube and the Wii, and they will shoot you to the unknown. I don't know where it will shoot you, but in this game, it's just so bad. Like, they remade it, and how should I say about this? I just do not like the remake of this course. So the first lap is basically the original, nothing too special. But I do like the fact that you could get up and then ring the bell, and then you could hope for good luck. Like, that's one cool thing, but it just wastes so much of your time. The second lap arguably is one of the best laps on the track. And then, but when you get to lap 3, sorry, but it's basically an intermission. Lap 3 is an intermission. No doubts about it. Lap 3 is basically the worst lap you could ever encounter in a Mario Kart game. But the wall rides are pretty cool here. But this straight path, I'm sorry, but just gliding through here is also not fun. And we have water again. You're just basically driving straight on water, and then there's basically no shortcuts at the end. And then this super awkward turn, my goodness. And then you need to encounter the jet skis, which are pretty annoying when the path is close. But overall, this track is a pretty mid course. But yeah, let's move on. Now at number 23 is Moo Meadows. So there's a massive glow up. Like, there is a big difference between the Wii, 8 Deluxe, and in World. And I would say the remake in World is unbelievable. Moo Meadows is a super duper simple track, but how did they make it this technical? Like, it's so cool. So obviously there's still a glider here, but they removed the boost ramp, which is kind of interesting, so you do not need to like easily just hop over the patch map road. But okay, hold on, I'm gonna get a mushroom here, and just to show you how cool this shortcut is. Not talking about the cow bounce, talking about this shortcut. Oh, we get a mushroom here? We got a freaking red shell. So let me show you this shortcut right here. So now I've got mushrooms. What do you do here? Well, just look. you build a charge jump, and then use your mushroom, and then when you enter the off-road, you need to clip the tree branch, which I totally did not, but you will fly over the fence, or even land on the fence, which is super cool. And yes, this track, although it's not bad, but there are still tracks that do better than this. I hope they could add like a little bit of like a completely different remake, like Choco Mountain, like adding a completely different thing instead of just like a grassy theme. So let's move on. So for number 22 on the list is Sky High Sunday. Holy cow, this is a completely different story to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So first up, there's this shortcut right here that you just trick off and then just land on the pole or the rail, and it will just completely redirect your cart. And compared to 8 Deluxe, the best thing the biggest difference is this wall shortcut. In 8 Deluxe, you usually just mushroom and float, which is kind of interesting. But here you have rails, which take you all the way, and you need to skip it. And this shortcut, I cannot stop talking about this shortcut. This shortcut is just so cool, like it just redirects you. Now we have the pink and green path, and I completely forgot about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the colors. I think it's the pink and blue path. Or maybe it's just there wasn't colors in that game. But overall, because of the wall ride, which completely saved this track, it's a pretty cool track, but there are more tracks that do better than this track. So let's move on to number 21. Now at number 21, we got Warrior Shipyard. Again, this is also a very water-heavy track, which is very bad. I know that rhymed, but it was not intentional. But again, the water physics in this game is just so strange. Like, because of the waves, I actually had numerous times that because of the waves, I did not make that charge jump. But the cool thing is when you enter the shipwreck, I think you can get up onto this wall and then get onto the secret path, onto the top cannon, launch down, and I failed that extremely easy shortcut, but I was doing 38,000 feet into the air, and that completely makes up for it. But it's not as much to save this track from being too bad. Unlike Sky High Sunday, like you got this entire thing that you just wall ride at the end and then skip like about 6 people. This track, I would say the world record tries to avoid all the water as much as possible. I know you cannot avoid the water in the Wario tunnel. Like, it's just completely impossible. But overall, although there's no underwater, this track is still a pretty great track. I would put it in B tier if I had to make a tier list. But yeah, I don't know about this track. And let's move on. Now at number 20, we got Peach Stadium. This is just like Mario Kart Stadium, not by its name, but rather by its design. Like, you still have this rotating path uphill, and you're just driving in the sky. And there are cool little paths. You could go on the rooftop, and I feel like that's kind of interesting. And also, you could use a feather to land on this rail, which I just failed with the wall. But there's just so much to do here, and I did not even know there's a glider right here. But I feel like this should be an opening track, rather than Mario Circuit Peach Stadium. It's like a best, the perfect for startings, you know? Like there's rotating paths, challenging turns, alternate paths, and yeah, this track is still like a pretty good track, but I don't really know how to like describe Mario Kart courses that well. So yeah, this, I would say this is a pretty mid track. That's all I could say about it. And yeah, let's move on. At number 19, we got DK Spaceport. Now this track is a relatively great track. I actually kind of love it. But because this track is like 6 laps, where you go vertically on tracks, look at the mini-map. It's 6 laps with 6 turns, or maybe 7 turns, and that's about it. But the fun in these 6 laps is unbelievable. Like here you just bounce, which is kind of boring, and also you could kind of feather off these gaps, but I just got green shells. And then here, this is the very interesting part. You could low trick off the ramps, but you kind of need to like dodge the barrels at the same time. And yeah, this is a part that's very fun. And now, the second most fun part of the track, the rail section. I mean, just look at this. You get one trick off every rail, and then transition to another rail. And now the number one most fun thing on this track. Watch this. That is absolutely insane wall ride. But unfortunately, it's slower. But I would still go for it to dodge people when it gets picked. Because like this is an extremely wide road, but some parts of it are narrow as hell. But I would still do wall ride. It's so cool. Let's move on. At number 18, we got Crown City. Now this is the only city in this game, which is kind of interesting. But this track could have been a little bit better. Like without all these freaking straightaways, like you just tap A. But I know you can use the advantage to cars to skip some corners. And then there are really awkward places where you can trick off of. And this staircase, what the hell? Like you just basically, you transition from road to staircase, which is kind of interesting. And now this is the most boring part of the track. You just go straight. I know that you also go here on the, second lap. But I need to show you something that makes it way better on the second lap. But the first time it gets completed is an abomination. So this part where you go through the souvenir shops, I suppose, is pretty cool. And you drive on the rooftop. Holy cow, it's solar panel. Then you just drive onto this platform that is held by 2 cranes. And then there are some drones along the way, which is kind of interesting. Now you go into the ring of the track, and you can also kind of like wall ride some of the paintings. Now here is the most interesting part. I completely failed, but the top of the signs is actually like a rail, which is kind of interesting. And what the hell am I even doing here? And then the third lap is where like the shortcut begins. Now obviously, you have this shortcut that I'm just gonna cut with a feather. And there's like another strat that you use like the air to your advantage, and you just bounce onto the rooftop. Now here you charge jump onto this house. Oh hell no! I'm getting blue shell. Like you jump off this pipe, hit the tree there, land onto the house, and yes, this track could have been so much better. But overall, it's mid to point. that you cannot get as much mid. But I know this is a bit controversial to you guys, because why is DK Spaceport above like such a bad track? Well, DK Spaceport is basically like a couple of turns like that. And yeah, let's move on. In 17th place, we got Dino Jungle. Now, this track is one of the most time trial tracks for me, at least. So, time trialing on this course is really good. Like, you need to learn all the cycles of the dinosaur. But you just basically, like, there's off-road right now, but in Double Dash, it's basically like a cliff. And I don't really like it because I like the track to be like more punishing. And the water spouts spin you up to a top secret path. I don't know why they selected that. And also there's a pretty cool path that you can do to avoid the dinosaurs. Like, this is absolutely insanity. And I like that you could get onto the dinosaur's neck. And yeah, I do not like the water spouts to spin you up to a secret path, although it is slower. But I like it. Like what? I like it. I like it to be like a little bit punishing. So you need to like slowly watch your car going down. And yeah, when I always get to Dino Jungle, I would always discuss about Dino Jungle or DK Mountain. Well, I would actually prefer Dino Jungle over DK Mountain. I don't know. Is there the same music? It's the exact same theme for some reason? I think it is. But the T-Rexes are far better than the ones in Double Dash. The Double Dash T-Rex, holy cow, it's basically like a cartoon thing. I don't really know how to call it, but if they had the dinosaur from Super Mario Odyssey, that would be a completely different placement. Like, I would say like number 15 or number 14, but they use these more realistic dinosaurs, which is kind of interesting. So yeah, let's move on. At number 16, we got Salty Speedway. So, the coolest part about this is kind of really bizarre, but it's actually when before you even start racing. Like, you stand up in a very weird way because you're underwater. But let's talk about this shortcut, which I don't know why you could just use the rail as a wall ride, but it's kind of interesting. Also here, I could use a mushroom, and then you need to like bounce off the pole and then off the tree like that. And then here is probably the coolest thing about this. I saw this in the trailer. You could get on top of the castle for some reason, and then it just kind of like pulls you down for some reason, or else I would have like landed on the pole to my right. But overall, this is a pretty good track. So I know this is like a very water-based heavy, like a water-heavy track. Like the canal at the start, I know it's super duper boring, but you could charge jump onto the different sidewalks, and then you will avoid the water completely. But I just cannot stop talking about this, that you go up onto the castle, which is very, very interesting. You can even do one more trick off the wall there. And here, look to the right, there's actually a Birdo mermaid statue. I didn't knew this like since I was playing this track, but it's a very cool thing. I think I hit onto Birdo's body in free roam, which is very interesting. And these boats here, you can somehow like trick off the boats. But yeah, you could kind of like wall up onto this, oh, I actually hit the shortcut there. You wall into the rail, which is super interesting. So I just don't cannot find a way to stop talking about this thing where you go up on the castle. But overall, this is a very cool track with alternate paths and stuff. If they just did not pull us down like that on the glider there, we would have landed on the rails, which is super cool. I snatched 3rd place at the end, at the very end. But this heavy water-based track, really good. As, I mean, the canal at the start is very boring, but, but you can just skip the water by charge and jump. So let's move on. So, number 15 on this list, aka the most average track in Mario Kart World, Starview Peak. So I know this is kind of like a surprise to you guys because I know like Starview Peak, oh I need to rank it, like I see people ranking it very lowly, like they say, oh the water things, like the blue things are not really cool like on Bowser's Castle. I know, but although it is not that cool, you can actually avoid the water. I know that everyone knows it. You can actually avoid the water. Like you could do it, I'm lost in control of the cart, but you could actually drive on the side of the road and then you can hit this, which is very cool. And before you get picked up by Lakitu, you can actually land on this rail thingy thing, like you see right here. You can see it, which is very cool. But yeah, Stardew Peak, this is actually a track that is very difficult to talk about its coolness and the worst parts about it. But I just had to show you this shortcut. Okay, freaking Mega Mushroom. I think that's fine. It's still like a mushroom. So, not only can you just go through this patch of off-road, you can actually land on a rail when you build like a charge jump or something, which is kind of interesting. And you make this final turn, you get to the gliders, and that is Starview Peak for you. I just love that the fact on these snowy tracks, hold on, I need to talk about this. The view here is basically the Northern Lights, which is gorgeous. So I just love that the fact on these snow tracks, when you get shocked, you just get covered in snow. And right here is actually very interesting. You could see the CPUs coming over to this right here. So, and I also do not really like that they copy like Ice Outpost. It's still rocking the blue and yellow, or green and yellow roads, and I don't really like that. I think like green and purple might be a better one. And it just feels so good to ride the side of the, road. And there's actually a library down here, which is very cool. And that is Starview Peak for you, and let's move on. Number 14 is actually right next to Starview Peak, Boo Cinema. I'm a big fan of this opening shortcut like this. I just failed miserably. I actually really disliked this track when I first played it, but more and more I play this track, the better it gets. Like the coolest thing about this, like in the film section where the film is like turning towards when you're driving, and it gives you like a little speed boost. And there is also a lot of chaotic moments while you're driving this track. And I just like the fact that you could go past these barriers by a little bit, but I guess not here. And let me try this. You could just trick and then get onto the wall and just trick the pole on the finish line. So let's hit this again. Look at this. That's so cool, right? And Also, if you have a feather, charge jump and then launch off this thing, and then you can feather up to the system thing, which is kind of interesting. There's actually a rail, and then vegetables cannot get to you in that area, which is very cool. Well, this track is the only haunted track in this game. I actually think that there should be at least like 3 haunted tracks in the game. Like, except for Boo Cinema, we could like make a remake, or maybe not a remake, a completely new variant of a Luigi's Mansion. I feel like that would be very interesting. But for now, it's Boo Cinema. But I would want like Luigi's Mansion or Twisted Mansion. That was a super underrated track in 8 Deluxe. And yeah, that's just all I have to say about this course. But also, I also do not like the fact that the boos don't hurt you in this game. The giant boo is just so cool. They just don't hurt you on the track. I feel like we should use like boos as like obstacles. And then like there is like a little threat to the track. So yeah, Boo Cinema is Boo Cinema. Let's move on. At 13th place, we got Wario Stadium. I'm such a big fan of this opening shortcut. Like, it's so cool. Holy cow, I burned out. So, you need to get like 2 air tricks off this, I think. And then trick. I'm just very surprised that no CPU takes this shortcut. Although I already set up to hard CPU. See, I just skipped the entire pack. Like, it's absolutely insane. Like, you could also get up to this rail, where you could get 5 extra coins. Well, I didn't only collected 4 there because I wanted a little trick. I need a charge off of this thing. Charge off the engine part, I should say, the engine part, and then get low air, which is a super interesting fact. But yeah, look at this shortcut. Like, just the first turn you skip, you already saved 2 seconds. Okay, sometimes you could fail the shortcut very miserably, like just what I did like that. But in N64, this track was so bad that no one could even accept that as a track. But I don't know why some people love it in the 64. But also, I feel like you could like trap a bomb like on the engines, like at the end of the engines, and then you could just like get someone. Also, you could just skip this shortcut with the feather. So and also front running this track is just so dang broken. Like, you can just hit the shortcut on all 3 laps, and you're just set. Because the shortcut saves a ridiculous amount of time, but if you fail it, you lose a catastrophic amount of time. So here I'm just kind of messing around. Don't know what I'm doing. But Wario Stadium, this is such a good track, and I hope that it was picked more online. And yeah, let's move on. At 12th place is Shy Guy Bazaar. Holy cow, this track. At the start, you could just build a charge jump or maybe just trick. And then look at this. Isn't that just insane? And you can also get onto this wall. And then you can trick once, twice, and then get up. Yeah, this track is the king of alternate routes. But sometimes there's this very stupid Lakitu pickup spots, which is really annoying. Also, here, off the staircase, onto here, and then take the shortcut. Like, what more could you ask? And we have this again, trick off the village houses. I mean, look at this. Isn't this insane? I feel like it. It's insane. And I'm not joking when I say that this track is really cool because it's a fact. Well, you can just charge jump and get loads of air. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. Even though that in 7, it was like forced to like nighttime. And now here we got like sunlight. But I feel like the sunlight and the nighttime version of it is also, the sunlight version is just as cool as the night version. It's just a completely different thing. I mean, it's not a completely different thing, but so the sequence here, I completely screwed it up. I could do this part. So let's talk back to Shy Guy Bazaar. The sunlight version is just twice as great as like the nighttime version, but I always have a smile on my face when this track gets fixed. Holy cow. So I am always really happy when this track gets fixed because like I could just do all kinds of insane stuff, and I would always like get a top spot or actually just like a great spot. How did I snuck third at the end? But whatever. This track is Alternate King. Let's move on. So I know this track might be a little lower than it should be at number 11, Drybone's Burnout, but I just like the two lava tracks, like just beside him. Drybone's Burnout, I actually really disliked this course when it first came out, I'm not even joking. But once I learned this shortcut, completely bumped up 20 spots. Like just take a look. You like bounce off this eye sock, I completely failed it. You trick off this eye sock and then like kind of just get onto the rail. And then this ending sequence to me is super difficult, but guys take a look. So you could just trick off like the off-road thing and then ride the wall, but I need to use a mushroom. And yeah, this track is pretty good, so let's move on. So kicking off the top 10s, we got Acorn Heights. So this track is actually a relatively great track with all its tech. I'm a big fan where you just get the purple Rainbow Mini Turbo and then just get onto this log on the bridge and then just get like an insane boost. And I'm also a big fan of like the detach thing where you you trick in the air and then you flip the wall. I am still practicing the shortcut, like the shroomless shortcut. I am obviously doing the harder way, but the way from the vines, like the way you do it from the vines, the shroomless shortcut, I am still kind of practicing it. And the most interesting part of this track is basically like you are driving in a forest or actually perhaps a tree, and this glider section is just so cool. And then here in the cool part of Acorn Heights, there's actually loads you could do. Like you could glider. The best thing is you could get here. Oh hell no. Okay, great. And then you could get onto this leaf and then trick back down. That is how you do the shroomless shortcut. The slow way, obviously. And I'm such a big fan of this vine. Like, you know, this vine transition. And I know a lot of you guys would put this a little higher, but there are still some courses that rock this way better. But it's still not a bad track in any means. So let's get back to the cool part. You can actually trick off a little bit of the leaf. And there's also a mushroom pad, which is really interesting. So let me take this a shot. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. If I used the feathers, that might have worked, but for now I'm still practicing. Still in progress. Here I'm also tricking relatively early, and yeah. Acorn Heights is at number 10 on the list. No doubt about it. Let's move on. Number 9, we have DK Pass. So let me explain. So DK Pass was the first ski mountain track in Mario Kart history, starting from the DS in 2005. And then I'm such a huge fan of like this charge jump against the wall and then like get up to this mountain. So we unfortunately don't use the pull shortcut anymore, although it's so cool. Let me show you this one. I might fail this. You just trick off 2 branches and then you just skip the entire forest part. Like, that's insanity. So, I'm very sad the game does not let you pull the shortcut I just wanted to pull. But I don't know why, like, that might be like a little bit too broken. Like, combine it with it like shroomless. Yeah, that would be too broken, but I'm also not sad as it's not in the game. So, I want to try this pull shortcut because I haven't done this shortcut in ages. Oh, hell no, it just feels just as good as before, even though I don't take this. Also, the little shortcut around like the turn, that is actually pretty interesting. I tried to rewind to trick off this pull, but ended up did not. Actually, I have a really interesting thing while pulling off the shortcut. I was like a little bit to the left while doing the shortcut on like the second tree branch, and then I clipped the little stick or the twig. I clipped the twig, and I tricked off the twig, and then I still made it a shortcut, which is super cool. Let me tackle the shortcut one more time. Holy! Yeah, baby. So there are also a lot of like signs like banana antifreeze, but let's get to the, like, look at the shortcut right here. A lot of the shortcuts on these tracks just make it a lot more better. Okay, I tried to like get onto the rail and stuff, but it kind of didn't work. Okay, so let's explore this forest section. So actually there's some bumps, which is quite interesting. I haven't go for like the store, like the forest part. I usually just take the shortcut. Holy cow! Okay. So DK Pass, a relatively good track. I feel like I'm just talking the entire race and then like not talking about its beauty and stuff, but I completely forgot to say this. I'm so sorry, but actually DK Pass is actually quite good to be the first ski mountain track, but over the years since Mario Kart Wii debuted, they had DK Summit, and in Mario Kart 8, they had Mount Wario. That's basically one of the 2 best ski mountain tracks in history. But this one does not disappoint. Its remake is really good, so let's move on. So I know this track, Dandelion Depths, is a surprise for you due to how high it's ranked. But I feel like it deserves this. I feel like people put too much hate on Dandelion Depths. Like this turn is one of the weirdest turns in Mario Kart World. Like, I think the fastest thing is to just turn. Like, just use the stick to just turn. I think that's the fastest thing. And also, this cavern section that we're about to enter is really interesting. So even though there's water, there's actually land that you can ride to skip it entirely. And I didn't like that when you bounce out of the water, you kind of just skip some ramps with some bumps, whatever you want to call it. And this charge jump sequence is quite a big fan of. And yeah, that's basically what Dandelion Depths goes for. Nothing super interesting, but something I had not yet showed you guys because I just failed it at the very start. You guys can go up this wall. Oh, hell no. let's do this again. You could actually go up this wall, look at Pianta, and then you can end up on this top path, and you get an extra the line box, and it shoots you right into this like alternate path section, which is like 10 times cooler than the bottom route. But you avoid like the land things, which is kinda bad. And yeah, this rock mountain thing is so cool. Imagine if there were boulders, but yeah, that's all I have to say about Dandelion Depths. And let's move on. So, at number 7, we got Far Away Oasis. So this track is one of the most technical tracks in Mario Kart World, or even in history. Like, because here, instead of just tricking from the rope, you need a trick from, you detach from the rope onto the road, and then get like a bunch of tricks off this, and then, oh hell no. There's no way. Okay, you can like trick off this thing. Let me show you one more time. You can actually clear this box shortcut roomless because I just failed really miserably on it. So if you get a feather at the end that's actually broken, you can just skip this turn, hop the turn, way tighter than you would. So a little remind for a sec is that if you don't have a mushroom on that very last turn, you're cooked. Like, you're actually cooked. You are gonna be so cooked. You're gonna end from 1st to 4th. Because that shortcut saves a ridiculous amount of time. So, it looks like a basic shortcut, but trust me, it's not. First up, we need to get onto the shortcut. And then, let's do the shortcut. Why am I keep missing this? So watch this. You can just skip this entire shortcut roomless, and if you get the trick there, it's simply the fresh air. So let me try charge jumping. You know what? That is pointless. So I would actually prefer to go a little wide into the shortcut, and yeah. And you actually can pull some air tricks, like edge tricks off this. Let me try. No, you cannot. But actually once, I like ended off like the side of the bridge. And then, like, yeah, I end up side of the bridge. And actually you could get up to the secret path. Like, down the bridge. And yeah. Let's move on. It's a great track. Number 6 on the list is Airship Fortress. So this opening sequence I'm also a huge fan of. Like, you get 2 tricks and then a delayed trick or air trick off that. And this is one of the most important strats in this game. So let's talk about its beauty. We're on an airship and the music is a blast. It was such a fan favorite in the DS, in Mario Kart DS. And the fire pillars are a great challenge. And that's like 50%. And now this spiral section, like you're just drifting for 4 minutes. And then at a random moment, you need to release it. And I like that when you get to the spot that the fire just goes away. And also I just like the chaos on this track. Like when you're not off the rails, and I'm already off the rails. When you're not off the rails, like, it's just chaos. Everyone takes the fastest line. And that's it. Just go fast in this game. Just go fast in Mario Kart. And Mario Kart's all about fast. And yeah, I'm such a big fan of this spiral section. And if you get shocked here on lap 3, you are so cooked. Like, you're cooked as hell. And yeah, I love the tech on this track. Such a technical track. And it's sad that you cannot go onto the rooftop. And the cannon there is also really interesting in a way that I cannot describe it. Like, I think you could throw a banana into the spiral, which I just failed. The green shell hit the top of the spiral tower. And if you have a mushroom, charge jump into this pit and then release it. It's a shortcut, a better shortcut. And Airship Fortress is Airship Fortress, baby. And it's a great track. To kick off the top 5, we go Whistle Top Summit. So, let me explain. This does not feel like a Mushroom Cup track. This feels like a Special Cup track. That the first Special Cup track of the entire game. And I don't think it's close to any Mushroom Cup track in Mario Kart history. This is a very tech-heavy track. And this is the best tutorial for like rail grinding, like riding on rails. Like there's just so much you can do. Like you get a few tricks off of this, and then you can like trick off this yellow pipe. And on the turn, you can actually trick onto this yellow pipe as well. And you can pull off something like this. Oh heck. And you can actually pull off something like this, which I failed miserably. Like you need to get on top of the roof, like, yeah, it's a very difficult shortcut, but here you could bounce against the house. You could just do anything you could do. Like, you could just cut corners like a moron. That's all I have to say. This track, it's annoying moments. Like, you get shocked, like, at the very end. The best shock spot on this track, or the most evil shock spot, is probably when you're doing the shortcut on lap 3. Like, that is a catastrophic amount. You lose a catastrophic amount of time. That's what I have to say. And the train is a good, like, decision-making thing, because the train often, don't let you go on the rails only, path, like the one at the beginning. And you can actually do this shroomless. And there's also gap jump right here. You can do with a cart charge jump or with a feather. But yeah, this is an overall excellent course. Am I gonna hit it? No, I will not make it. Okay, so Whistle Stop Summit. An incredible track. That's all I have to say. Incredible track. I mean, I'm not lying when I say incredible track. It's a fact. Let's move on. So, Bowser's Castle in this game is probably one of the best Bowser's Castle in history. Like, at the start, let me show you this. Let me pull up the gap jump, which is pretty difficult on the easy way. I like to do it the hard way, like this gap jump. So right after this cannon section, there's actually a shortcut that is way cooler than the gap jump. Like, just take a look. You just drive off the track, ride the wall, and then just spam right tricks. What did I clip there? That saved me. So also here, after when you land from the shortcut, you need to like very right. This is a fairly difficult shortcut. Let me see if I can make it. I will not make it, but you need to like ride under the lava. Like, that's kind of interesting. But overall, this game's Bowser's Castle is just good to the point that I have lost the words to describe this thing. Like, when you first play this track, you would know how great the courses are in this game. So let me attempt the harder version of the shortcut. It would be really awkward with the people next to me. Oh no, let's pop the bullet. So you need to like detach from the wall in order to do that, which is kind of interesting. So let's do this again. Oh, way better this time. Oh, I just missed it. So how do I do this? Okay, let's just fall off. But overall, a really great course. Let's move on to the top 3s. To kick off the top 3, we got Toad's Factory. So, let me explain. Toad's Factory is a Wii track, and its remake is really similar to the original. Like, the crushing section hasn't changed, but the conveyor section actually changed by a lot. It usually had like boxes that would block your way in the Wii version. Right now, it's replaced with coins and items, which is a bit disappointing because like Toad's Factory is like a relatively, I wanted to make it more challenging, and I'm a huge fan of launching up the support beams. I'm actually really disappointed that you cannot like launch off the final ramp and then end up in the tractor out of bounds regions. If we saw that right now, like in this game, if that was possible, I'd be in a completely different mood right now. But also, I'm okay with it not being here because I do understand, because like Mario Kart Wii is like a broken game. You basically glitch off a box on a conveyor section and then just launch into this section backwards. But damn, its remake is just as good as the original version. That's what I could say. And yeah, let's move on to number 2. At number 2, we got this game's Rainbow Road. Holy cow. This track is basically 5 minutes when you're in normal races, not including time trials. It's basically 3 minutes on the gas on time trials, like the fastest time. But in races, it's basically 6 minutes on the gas non-stop, which is really cool. And this is such an exhilarating track. And Rainbow Road in this game is easily one of the longest tracks in Mario Kart history. I don't think N64 Rainbow Road could even beat this. This track is insanity. You could pull numerous edge tricks, like right here. Like you could trick off the edges. I had one time when I was like tricking off the edges, and then I rode the side of the rope. Like I drove on the side of the rope and then just popped up back. Also, this is a must-know shortcut. Actually, relatively easy one. So yeah, time is right. There we go. And this river section is the most interesting part. Like here, there's a really interesting thing. I think if you guys go straight, you go so much faster than hitting 2 boost rings, which is really interesting. And here, there's like a couple of Lumas, and then here there's a shortcut. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about this track. Really interesting course, but I wish that the dinosaurs on lap 5, I think, lap 4, were the dinosaurs from Odyssey. Okay, let's try this. I wanted to try the iconic shortcut, but I guess it doesn't rewind you a mushroom. Then you basically have to like jump off from where I rewinded to like here, which is insanity. And the galaxy section, I don't even think I could call this a galaxy. A black hole, which sucks you to the unknown. Here, when you throw hammers, is so cool. I basically threw into the space station. But here is basically the most boring part. It's like so boring and so damn slow. Because you have like the boost sections. So here I would prefer taking the left path. And this animation is really cool. The way that the camera just flips. And here, the rainbow swamps are not a threat at all. Like, I think they hit the ground every 30 seconds, which is not really a number. But, holy! The coolest part here is that you can actually look at the whole entire world map. When you look down of the galaxy. Whoa, I can get out of the galaxy. Oh my goodness, but you get picked up by Lakitu. Look down, and then you will see Peach Stadium. The whole entire world on the right there. The right half of the world. What the hell? Okay, so here, I'm here for a reason. I need a test the insane shortcut that I would fail miserably every time. I always go into a time trial and then like try the shortcut, and then I have to replay 4 minutes of gameplay. Although this track, when you fall off, is kind of punishing because you're just gonna get hit like absolutely right away. Okay, let's try this. Oh hell no! When do I do this? Like that? Oh, hit the pole! Hit the pole! Oh! Oh! Oh my gosh! How did I dodge a shot there? That was so cool. Alright, let's make the final turn and then end the track. This game's Rainbow Road. I've been stepping on the gas for 4 minutes and 46 seconds on this track. So yeah, let's move on to the #1 track in the game. I'm pretty sure that you know what is the best track in Mario Kart World. Great question, block, ruins. First off, this track is just insane. In free roam, you could actually go on top of the block, which is kind of interesting. Now, starting here, this is where like the best parts of question block ruins do. You have to do 2 tricks off that, and then you can ride the small surface of the wall and then create like a shortcut. That's really difficult. Like, I cannot stop talking about this shortcut. Watch this. Look at this. This is pure insanity. Woo! Look at this. This is just so cool. In an intermission from Faraway Oasis, it's even cooler. You like glide up a waterfall, I think, which is kind of interesting. Now, right here is the pretty difficult mushroom shortcut. You need to hit the little block thingy, which is kind of difficult. Also, there, did you see me? I was tricking way too early, and then it detached me from the rail. That was really interesting. And that's one of the secrets about the track, which is that's really interesting. I don't think you see it on any other track. Look, the Lakitu. Okay, you just basically hit the ring, and then you just make the shortcut completely seamless. Oh my, holy cow. I could just use the entire length of the video. I don't know how long was the video, like 30 plus I think. Just talk about the shortcuts of this thing. I mean, just look at this. You could use the mushroom or use a charge jump, which makes this track really good. And this is also a really good front running track because every shortcut you do on this, you could do a shroomless. And that just makes it a really good front running track. I don't see how you're gonna catch up with bagging at all because front running this track is just pure insanity. Lakitu is kind of strict on the shortcut sometimes, but in free roam, you could just jump down from here and then jump to the middle of the track, which is really cool. But bro. Great question, block, ruins. The best track in Mario Kart World, I don't think it's close to any other shortcut in the game, or maybe even in history. Not even close. I think the most insane shortcut that, in my opinion, was on Toad's Factory in Mario Kart Wii, that you just do the box clip shortcut. And yeah, there's basically no other like great glitches in this game, but there's basically no glitches. But shortcuts in Mario Kart Wii were pure insanity. But This shortcut is not even close to how good the box clip is. Okay, so in this video, I ranked every track in Mario Kart World from 30 to 1st. And see you guys next time. And I hope you have a fantastic day.